morning, good afternoon, good night, guys, and welcome to another week's episode of EFP Eat Fruit Pod. I'm your girl Kay.
I'm your girl Killa. 4 eggs, 2 you.
My bad. You could just run it back. Well, yeah, guys. So, how was your week? How was your week, Killa?
Actually, I had a great week. Met some new people and realized that cabin fever is a real thing.
Remind me what cabin fever is again.
You're just stuck in the house for too long, to the point where you kind of go a little stir crazy.
I didn't think about that because I feel like
smaller and smaller.
Kind of like a Groundhog Day type of thing, or
kind of, but it's the fact that you're looking at the same four walls that's just you become extremely uninspired and to the point where you just kind of lose it, kind of thing.
Got you.
There's no variation.
Got you.
Yeah.
Well, whoa, that doesn't, how are you able to come out of cabin fever? Any advice?
Go outside.
It's hard.
Yeah, especially after a 400-day lockdown, but that's what it is. I just needed to leave the block, basically. So I left the block. It was a whole good vibe and experience.
That's good. Definitely need to follow suit. My week was good, went by quick. Yeah, we're here and it's Tuesday, Wednesday again. And what kind of caught me by surprise is actually this whole Alec Baldwin situation, because I haven't really been on the internet this week because I just had so much other stuff going on. So as soon as I opened my phone, I seen all these news notifications and stuff about basically Alec Baldwin killing someone on set of his new movie, and not just, oh, it's Alec Baldwin film set. No, he's the one that pulled the trigger, and it also injured another gentleman on the set for a movie that they were doing called Rust. Mm-hmm. So I actually want to say the young lady's name. Sorry, because that's not fair to just be the young lady. I really do. Oh, okay. Yes. So she was kind of well known, I guess, amongst her peers, and her name was Halnya Hutchins. And also they didn't give the name of the gentleman that was, oh, there it is, Joel Souza. So, condolences to the Hutchins family, and I'm wishing Joel Souza all the best. But that was
word. But also to Alec Baldwin, all the best to you as well, because that was never his intention. And when you read the story, it just no one's fessing up because it's such clearly because it's such a big situation. But to be at work and not think that that's something you have to worry about after X amount of years of being on set, and you draw a gun and you kill somebody, that couldn't be good for your psyche. So I send out love to all parties involved.
Yeah, definitely not good for all parties. But the more I dug into the story, I kind of had less and less sympathy for Alec Baldwin, even though it's not up to me. But as the story goes on, they say how basically a lot of things that you should be doing as regular, how you would speak on things that should kind of be expected when you go on set, when you've done gigs and stuff, is kind of a lot of people in the film industry and also people that were on the set had a lot of things to say. And actually the day before this shooting even happened, and I'm just paraphrasing based on things that I've read via CNN and stuff, but there was a staged walkout because of how diminishing, how bad the level, what is the word I'm looking for? The standard of work.
The work standards weren't up to par. They weren't their lodging or something to that effect.
Yeah, they really weren't.
That's one thing, but the fact that they had, if there's a firearm there, you have to have people that are watching them and making sure that they've checked for certain things. And it's pretty standard. You don't hear this type of thing happening on set too often in this day and age. So for it to happen, clearly somebody didn't do something they said they did.
Facts.
And that's basically what when I was reading, it's like it's what they were saying, but nobody wants to say it just yet.
Oh, well, I don't know if it's like the people that I'm tapped into following, but they're definitely speaking up and voicing about it. So I like, they said, stay for hotel was taken away, like accommodations. A lot of things kind of were unsanitary on set and off of set, like accommodations for film crew and everyone. And just a lot of neglect on like all levels. And he is knowingly doing this. So yes, one of the people like you mentioned that would have been very important to that is when you have an active gun. But now that's a detail that I'm not even sure about, because some people are saying prop gun that was given a live bullet, and some people are saying it was an actual like real strap.
A prop gun wouldn't shoot a real bullet.
Right. So I don't, but that's a detail that I've been seeing. Not, yeah.
He really wants to say what's up, because it's like nobody wants to get into it. Yeah. Or nobody really wants to actually put up their hand and say, oh, that was my job. And
yeah,
I guess when a life is lost and another life is kind of like hurt, you don't want to be that person that has to come out and put your hand up.
Yeah.
But I mean, to have people saying that the gun is cold and it's not, there's one in the chamber, like that to me is one of the easiest things to do, is to discharge a weapon or to like disarm it, to see what's going on in it, like pop the chamber, see what's there. Like it's like, who knows what kind of gun it was, but I mean, either way, it doesn't matter whether it's an automatic or not. Like once you know how to use a gun, you know how to use a gun. And to me, like that's the one thing they're asking if you checked for, and you're saying you checked for it, but like you didn't check for it. The other thing that was kind of strange to me is that when they did have, even though they did have 3 people to handle that, like it's the assistant director that's being charged. What? And I'm guessing
I missed that part.
I'm guessing that's the like insurance part of it or something, or maybe they just threw up somebody for the sake of throwing somebody up. Not really sure. But I wasn't hearing that. I didn't read that. I was hearing that. Like that's from hearing reports of shit happening. But it's wild, yo. Like anything can happen.
Yeah. And the other part that, I just don't want to like gloss over, I just want to be transparent about how I'm receiving and like reading this information in real time, because this is still a very, very new set. But TMZ just even posted an exclusive of a gentleman giving his accounts to exactly what happened when it was happening on set. So I don't want to like traumatize anyone that's like listening or anything. So you are welcome to either go on TMZ site or go on Downtown World. And I posted a clip there that the gentleman had posted that was really there on set when this was going down. And also, I feel like the Baldwins in the Hollywood scene, they have an unspoken leverage on top of like white privilege. I feel like a lot of people don't want to talk about, similar to like the Sheen family, and I just feel like if that was any other director, Ava DuVernay, Issa Rae, Lena Waithe, like so many Black directors I can name, I just don't feel like the coverage of this would be the same, the grace and leniency and everything, because at the end of the day, you were the boss and the manager of this whole operation, and it's heavily documented. I've been seeing lots of documents showing that it was no stranger to people letting you know how comfortable they were in the workspace, and you ignored that until now life was lost. And now you have the convenience of putting that, if it's like what you're saying, on someone else, and like fire and brimstone is it being made. But then you look at things like Nicki Minaj, that she's just sharing, and I'm not like defending her whole thing, but like she's just sharing a thought of something she thinks, and you would think that she had murdered a person the way how media and things like that covered it. So I just, like it must not be easy to know that you're responsible for like pulling a trigger that ends someone else's life, but those are also some of the things that kind of like are irritating me with this situation.
I definitely feel what you're saying. Anything that's gonna attach a Black anything is going to have a different outcome. I don't know. To me, like when you're on set and you see like how many people are micro responsible for shit, yeah, I mean it will trickle up, but at the same time, like I said, somebody's not putting their hand up. because like somebody touched that gun and cocked it back or didn't cock it back or just put it to the side and said they did it. And that's not really being spoken to either. As for the other conditions that were on set, like, I don't know, shit like that happens on sets all the time where people have to like literally say, hey, no, you have to stick to the script and you're not necessarily doing it. So I'm just walking the fuck off.
Yeah,
Was it, is it his movie? It's his movie?
Yeah, it's his movie. He was the
Nigga?
actor that, like, the whole shebang. It was an indie film that,
Mm,
that he's called. So, like, even a couple, sorry, Killa.
I do agree that he does have to look into some things, but also just from being on set, like I'm pretty sure that day he was an actor. Like he came to set to be an actor. He didn't
Yeah,
necessarily come on set. And also he might have put the money in, but I'm pretty sure he implemented a bag of people in between him and
but
that
he
gun.
also fired and let go so that he can skimp and save on budget for this film. So that's what I was saying. Like, those are the things that, like legit, everyone, like, planned a walkout the day before they had already walking off set. So it's like you continued filming the next day, like nothing went down, nothing happened, type of thing. To now, it led to someone's life being met, not holding a major staff meeting or something the next day after that happening, but proceeding to go on like nothing had happened. And then that even led to someone losing their life. Like, that's major neglect. A couple of weeks ago, I'm not the law, shout outs to your lawyer, whoever it may be, but, like, you know what I mean? And a couple of weeks ago, there was an injury. Someone either had terribly got injured or something with Kevin Hart. I forgot who was on set with Kevin Hart. They were reporting it on variety.com. And I seen a couple of other, like, news outlets picking it up, and it was just like Kevin Hart, Kevin Hart, like, and he was literally an actor on set. It wasn't even his, like, film or nothing, but just because, I don't know if the stunt person was his stunt person or performing a stunt for a scene that he might have been, but it's like, that's all the tabloids were saying. And like I'm saying, what I'm noticing now with these is like everyone's trying to, it's very mindful the way this is being put out. Where, like, if I feel like if any of,
mm-hmm.
It's just, something I noticed.
I definitely agree where if it was a Black person, they would make it anything different.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I'm just like, so life is crazy.
It is. And that's why, like, sorry, Killa.
No, I was done.
That's why in my experience so far, like, I may be a bit overbearing, but I really bring everything I need and more, even if, like, someone's telling me whatever, because I need to make sure I'm comfortable. I need to make sure I'm safe. And especially now with, like, the whole panini happening outside, more than ever, there's like a whole another list of range of things that I personally will need to feel comfortable on a set of anything. So it's just like people really need to take, I think, things more seriously on all angles. People going to work, because you can't put your trust into your job. If that's anything I've learned during COVID, I cannot, like, even the beginning stages, the place that I was working at when this whole thing was happening, I remember just sitting there looking at the computer, waiting to see emails. Like, it was like almost like a sheep mentality. And you're realizing they didn't care about the medical side and what was happening. They just cared about their bottom line. And, like, they were even upset at the fact that it was coming to a point where they were going to have to let us go home to work from home or give us that option. So I can only, like, imagine. I think about the things that people in the nursing community tell me and the unsafe practices happening there, like that whole, like, issue that was happening between the hospital and the nursing homes that, like, was heavily covered, but it was a huge issue because I know a lot of nurses, RPNs, all, like, on all ranges. So it's just like in the workplace, I've learned, no matter if it's entertainment, corporate, whatever, to just put me first, because they don't put you first. They put their bottom line first. And I feel like this is a perfect example of that. And you can get caught up in the rapture of, oh, I'm working with Alec Baldwin, this is such a dream. You know what I mean? Thinking nothing will happen. but clearly, like, anything can happen to anyone at any time.
And that's it. And that's it. It's like being on set, like, doesn't really matter who you're on set with, and like trying to be safe is quite difficult when like you have to take somebody else's word for it. And like basically, like everybody took somebody's word for it to say that they hired somebody who knew what they were doing when it came to ballistics. And clearly somebody didn't know what they were doing by ways of ballistics if a cold gun actually had a live bullet in it. Because like those phrases don't get switched
They
up.
don't.
Either it is or it ain't. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really crazy. But you know what? Sometimes things like this have to happen for things to be like highlighted. And unfortunately, life had to be lost, and another life had to be endangered, or plenty lives had to be endangered. But it's like people don't always listen, and things don't change as easily as they should.
Yeah. And I don't know like how true the detail is of like Alec Baldwin, you know, called like Miss Hitchens' husband to like, you know, apologize as I guess as much as you can for something like that. But I just, it's a lot. And the story is clearly still unfolding. There's still a lot of details being let out. I'm just watching the way and being mindful of the way it's being let out and how they're going about it. It kind of feels a little scandalous.
I mean, it needs to, because media needs that. But also, like, I think it highlights the fact that, like, Hollywood's been dirty for a long time. Like, I'm pretty sure the practices on sets have not been up to par for about 90% of all sets that you could possibly have coming out of Hollywood. And like, that's been something that people have low-key been saying just in general when it comes to media in Hollywood and what they've ended up doing to get around certain things. And like, it's just like people need to kind of be aware of how much it takes for you to actually get that media that you're consuming.
Facts. It's unfortunate. Once again, condolences to, you know, everyone affected. My condolences to everyone that was on set that, you know, was affected by this. And, you know, I empathize with Alec Baldwin like a little bit, but not a lot. Not a lot. I'm just gonna be.
But in this day and age, I'm just like, people are people, and like, even if I was being a dirtbag, I wasn't trying to kill nobody. So if I had to take a life, like, I just don't think that's something that you bounce back from, even if you do have a little evil streak in you.
I think like I've been watching the BMF series, which is like 50 Cent show on Big Meech's like Come From Life. Really great show so far. Love it. You guys can let us know as well what you think about it. But I've always heard about Big Meech. Of course, he's in raps and stuff, but I've never like heavily like gone through and understood his story. So I'm learning and understanding now that like his younger brother, when a dude came to like rush him or whatever, that's when he got shot. The bullet went through like his eye and like through his skull or something like that. So Meech's brother, I don't know why his name is slipping me now, but he had like a serious, like, you know, he could have went blind. So when he was in the hospital, this is in Detroit. So when he was in the hospital, pretty much is like the hospital fucked up his first surgery. And then basically his vision was getting fucked up. And they were like, I'm watching the process now because it's only on like the 5th episode, but they're like in legal battle with the hospital. And just now the hospital in the first like I guess, you know, when they do a pre-trial, when they're not really like in court yet, but they're trying to like, I guess, mediate before they go into the court or see if they can not have to go through the whole thing. So like, they're like, oh, is this you coming out of Mercedes? Is this you coming out of this? Is like Victor, like doing all of that and be like, oh, but your father is a mechanic. He only earns $30,000 a year. So what are you doing coming out of this whip? And all of this, you know what I mean? And I heard that in the end of the story, like their family got like a huge multi-million-dollar or something like that settlement off of like this. But just watching like how they went about it and like it being the hospital, whatever, that's why I don't know, maybe I'm a bit scorned because that episode is still fresh in me. with this Alec Baldwin situation where I'm just like, nah, y'all do this. Y'all do this. And you have the right people to spin so that you don't have to get in trouble.
That's basically how that's set up. Like we see that every day. Like, and even if it wasn't them, it's gonna be the insurance company. That's definitely how this shit goes down. Yeah. 100%. Because don't nobody want to be liable and have to pay out. Like it is a greed thing at the beginning and end of the day. But then again, that's Hollywood. Hollywood is a big old greed mart. Like
it is. It's a filthy place. I just laugh about like all the times as a child I had aspirations to like see the Hollywood side or whatever. And it's like the closer and closer things get, it's like the steps get slower. Like I'm just like, maybe I'll park over here. I can still see it from here, but not, yeah.
It's not what I want to put my time to.
Yeah.
I feel you.
So, was there anything random news or anything else you want to talk about maybe that came up this week?
No, I had a great ass week. I hung out with a lot of beautiful, intelligent, knowledgeable, resourceful Black people, and it just kind of like juiced me. That's where I'm at. Like I feel really bad about this whole situation, but also like I'm kind of glad in this particular situation that ain't no Black people involved, and ain't no Black people got shot, ain't no Black people out here like trying to like fight for their lives or even having to like speak to why they did or didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like
I ain't gonna hold you 1,000.
Not to be that nigga, but I'm gonna be that nigga and just be like, you know, I'm just glad that that's not our bag.
Yeah. So right now we're just watching, as Killa said last week, the caucasity of it all.
The caucasity of it all.
Yeah. So yeah, what else? I believe this week, like Jay-Z got inducted into the like Rock Hall of Fame.
Oh,
it's
really?
Like, you know, put your diamonds in the sky, you know. So you know.
Very worthy. Very worthy of that accommodation.
And what I love about, no, I was gonna say what I love about Jigga is like, I think like newer fans would think, oh yeah, it's for like his tracks, but he has a lot of tracks that are like not even his voice that he's just written. Like his pen game is fire. So, you know, super shout outs to Ho every time.
Definitely an NYC god. For sure. Well deserved. Great businessman. Just keep being expressive. Like this new grandpa Jay. I'm feeling you with your freeform dreads. I'm feeling you. I'm really not feeling that whole Tiffany situation that him and his light skin dropped, but like outside of that, like we're pretty cool, dude.
You know, he's really tapping into his Jamaicanness now, I feel.
Isn't everybody? Like you go to Jamaica once and you just really feel like you want to be down. And I'm not saying
he hasn't, but I feel like he's more.
That's what it is. You go to Jamaica and you get like enchanted by it.
Legit. See, I feel like he's been spending a lot more time with his elders on that side. That's what the vibe is giving me. You know, especially like.
What, his dad's Jamaican or something, or was?
Yeah. And you know that movie they're promoting a lot right now, Harder They Fall, and I think Regina King is like the main character. They had
Is it a remake?
Yeah. So they had her as the main, and then I seen that Supercat was a part of like the soundtrack, and like he was also like at the party that they held, I think in America for it, like the premiere. All this, so like I actively see Jigga like giving dancehall a more forefront to be like, yeah, I sampled this, but this is who this sample came from. Like, yeah, y'all love Bam 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 off 444, but it came from this Barrington Levi, like, you know, just really like, which is something that I feel is always an issue in the music industry, where dancehall reggae does not get the credit it deserves. So it takes someone really obvious sometimes to be like, you know?
I'll watch that a little bit more because like I find the Carters have a really good way of like building press on things that other people would consider mundane or that they wouldn't actually rep. And you think they're repping, but really they're culture vulturing, even though they should be of the culture. Like,
yeah,
sometimes you think they're actually being supportive, but really like they're just being influencers that are just like leading their followers. And it just so happened that that's the way to do it.
well, this may seem a little bit nerdy, but the reason why I say they're supporting is because like I use Tidal as my music subscription. So when I go on there, the first playlist I see are like Super Cat Essentials, Barrington Levy Essentials. And when I go through their song credits, they have their masters and they get their credit, or some of it goes to TJ Records. So like I see on like how on all, I guess, different sides, they're making sure that not just like we're here for the look for the book with the picture, but like on the back end, you're getting like your residual incomes as well, or different ways that you can get it.
Word. I'm more so with what they portray.
Yeah.
Like they like to portray like the new Obama and Michelle, but I'm just like, y'all do some interesting things in the process. There's a lot of stereotypes that they kind of like hold on to. And for me, like, I really love them. But after watching that Tiffany situation, I'm just like, why the fuck would you turn around and try to sell like the whole image of the slave master to your followers? Like, I'm a little
Why do you say that? Like, why do you think they did that?
Because I saw the ads, and one, they were like, they're flat. The ad is flat, and all I'm seeing is a Black man in a place of affluence with his freeform dreads, and he has his Triton Hackney light skin that's fashioned to look like a white woman. The only thing that made sense in that is that an African was wearing a diamond. That's pretty much the only thing that made any fucking sense to me in that ad. But also, you take something like a Basquiat that's a cultural treasure and has a very strong connotation. Like, my thing with a Basquiat is that you understand the madness, and you understand that like for him, it was a very thin line between genius and insanity. And that was something that is portrayed through his work. And they turned around and they made the Basquiat serene Tiffany blue. Like, Basquiat's not serene.
No, that's an actual painting. They own that one. They own that one. That's an actual Basquiat. It was like that blue, everything. It's part of their art collection.
Actually, that Tiffany blue.
Yeah, that is one of Basquiat's like famous. I don't have it in front of me, but I remember when it came out, I was looking into it, and that was actually a part of their collection they got for like $5 million a couple of years ago.
I do believe that color was changed. I've never seen a Basquiat that color. I've only ever seen red, or just he scribbled a lot on paper.
Okay, well, like, the piece is there, so like, yeah.
That blue was a tie-in for Tiffany. And for me, like, it just kind of shifted the painting, even if it shifted it just that little bit. And I'm like, I just feel like you sold whiteness to Black people for money. And when you did it, you kind of just, you didn't make it an empowerment thing for Black people. You made it an attainment thing for them. And like, I just feel like we need to kill the desire to want to replace the slave master. Cause like whatever they built was not for us, clearly. So for me, sometimes they do slightly like you think they're for the people, but really they're for themselves, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they find cute little ways to like not be about it, just like everybody else does, because it's literally just about what you can make somebody else believe. Like, it's about morphing people's perspectives.
Yeah. I hear you. But I'm like 98% sure that Basquiat, because I was researching it, similar to like the that it's a real Basquiat that he had. Like, they owned it even before like this whole LVMH deal that they had like made like way before. As well, like I was gonna say, like I see this Tiffany ad as just part of whatever they agreed on in their negotiations with LVMH. And we see that deal working out with like Rihanna. They're finding ways to do incentives for people all over Rock Nation. I feel like that deal even helped her etched up to her billionaire status. So like, yeah, when you water it down, and now like this stuff is coming out, it is a little bit like you could have had an afro, like whole bunch of things, you know?
Not even that. It's just like you could have been the first one to kind of shift the narrative to Black wealth or Black culture, as opposed to making it about Black people having to absorb more white culture, but just being able to bridge it because you're getting the perks of it per se. You know what I mean?
Mm. For real. Yeah, so that was like a bunch of other little stuff kind of happened during the week, but that was pretty much the gist of it. As I said, I'm gonna keep really focused on this Alec Baldwin story because it's something that I find very interesting. And thank God, Insecure season 5, their last season, is back. So I already watched episode 1. I won't spoil it, but it's juicy, and I can't wait. Issa's on one, so
That's when she's at her best, is when she's on one.
right.
I just love that she came in and just threw out a fucking classic one time for the people. I was like, all right, well, it's been real. You're gonna get it on DVD or whatever the heck we're gonna be playing things on in the next 10 years, and like that's that.
Right? No, for real. I felt with it heavy too. Super heavy. Yeah. And like I'm just happy to see her keep going from where her story started on YouTube. It's been like what 11, 12 years now since she first put a video about that like concept of the awkward Black girl, to now it's like at his last season she just got a like multi-million-dollar like 4-year deal with HBO. Like, come on, Black girl, come on. Do it like a show be day.
One down, like 7 to go.
Right. Of course, it was Mr. Drizzy Drake. It was his birthday. So, you know, being from Toronto, Canada, I'm never not gonna say, you know, happy birthday, Drake. Hope you had a great one. The internet was quite entertaining with the stories. You know, there's always stories after the party. Too many videos of things fighting outside. Heels broken. The Ratchet happy birthday. That's what it.
I was quite shook to hear that he's only 35. Like, whoa, nigga, you looking like an old ass man. You looking like you're in your 40s. Like, you looking like a grown. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just like, you look very mature. Like that's like a glass of wine. Like, okay, cool. But you're really like a 35-year-old whippersnapper. Look at that. All right.
What was the word? What?
Whippersnapper.
Whippersnapper. I never heard that one. But
nigga, you went behind the ears. There's Similac dropping from your ears. It's not Similac, but wow, like
for real.
Not even a 38, not even like a beefy like late 30s.
I was shocked
hit that little bit 30, and like maybe it's the Tom Ford. I don't know.
Maybe
it's the lasering all the hair off the body. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
You're looking mad, grown, and sexy, sir. And happy birthday. Respect.
Yeah. I was checking.
Like Drake out here giving zaddy vibes, but
he is.
My ninja.
He is. Like I like looking at my cousin that way. I see Drake as like a cousin, you know, but he's giving the vibes. The line is always,
I'll objectify you. You can be her cousin. I'll objectify you anytime you choose.
You know, he's out there doing his thing. And just as a whole, like Toronto's doing a really great run. I don't know what's happening, but they're doing a really great run in like it seems like LA in the States right now. Smiley's out there. He just posted a picture, a little video with like Lizzo, which I loved, and they were chopping it up. So that was great because I'm like, Lizzo, you don't know. You're in the States, but fuck around, come over here to Toronto. You think they're gonna play about your weight. They're really like, bring your little flat butt yourself, bro, yourself. So
More to grab.
She ain't ready. They're not ready for these Toronto.
Really, what she's not going to be ready for is that it's going to be the 5'6" man that's like 62 pounds soaking wet with nuts and bolts in his pocket, talking about, I'm gonna handle this for you, baby. Maybe you're gonna handle this right now.
Yes.
So, come to Toronto, have fun.
Have fun, girl. Have fun. Have fun. Pressa did a really great, well, 2 interviews I caught. He did one with DJ Academics, and then I seen the one he did at the Breakfast Club. I was kind of sad Charlamagne wasn't there, but it was still an okay interview. And as I mentioned plenty of times before, Pressa's come such a far way in his interview, so I'm really proud of him. I feel like he did a great job, and I'm excited to see like just what he continuously has coming. Yeah.
I like his vibe. Like I enjoy watching him as well, just because like he has this innocence about him, because it is still kind of new to him, like because it's happening in real time for him.
Exactly.
But just a regular like round the way ass nigga, because he's just like, yeah, I mean, I just put in the work, I make my songs, I kind of just mind my business, it's me and my girl, and
Yeah.
I'm just here for the ride.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to see.
For that reason, that's why I kind of appreciated the DJ Academics interview more over the Breakfast Club one, because DJ Academics, he really like, similar to how he's, I don't want to say obsessed, but he really takes a focus and studies what's happening in Chicago. By the things that he's saying and the questions he's asking, I could tell he is doing the same with Toronto, and I appreciate it. So his stories or his questions were all centered towards Press's previous charges and him dating Coily Ray. It was like, yo, what does Wasa mean? How does this change? Da, 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 da. You know what I mean? Just real Toronto shit. So it's just like, once he gets through this phase with the rest of the American like outlets, I know they can get to catch up to where like Academics is and getting to know like him. But even Presta said it in this interview. He was like, I know the American audience is getting to know me. And even if they do approach me, he's like, it happens to him all the time. People will be like, oh, Coily Ray's boyfriend. And he's like, it doesn't, Toronto niggas don't like, the world will understand. They love to boast and stunt on their women. So it doesn't bother him.
But he's actually just a humble individual. And I kind of just feel like for him, he's just like, whatever, like,
yeah,
gonna come, like,
yeah,
you're gonna know at some point. I mean, this is how you're attaching it, okay, cool, but you're gonna know at some point. And he's so chill that like I just don't like, things don't seem to really phase him too tough. Like,
facts. And I love that.
Yeah,
I really do. So congratulations to all of you kings and queens. Keep doing your thing. Yeah, it's exciting. So pineapple fruit, we get into for this week. We spoke about it about 2 weeks ago, but this week I kind of wanted to get into the fact of like giving other people more power than they need to, or like giving people the power to like be able to fluctuate your mood. Like why would you do that? Why are we doing that? Why, as humans, sometimes are we fucking like allowing people to see us sweat? Like you shouldn't be allowing anyone to make us sweat. Sometimes human behavior, it's not as easy, but you shouldn't allow anyone to see you sweat. So what do you think about that, Killa, in terms of like
just the whole stop letting broken people break you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an important life lesson. We don't, like, as much as we address trauma on the show, like people don't necessarily really take in trauma. The amount of times I'm just like, well, yeah, I mean, it's a trauma response. And people are like, right, so I'm gonna go do this, and they just ignore exactly what you just said, because that didn't make no sense to me. It's a major situation. Like your trauma forms you. Your trauma helps you. Your trauma is what teaches you how to normalize, and that in itself might have you in a position in the future where you are letting broken people break you. Yeah. You know what I mean? But also trauma and normalizing trauma, it takes you away from your authentic self. So you don't necessarily use your own discretion when dealing with things. Like you can be affected by other people's energy a lot more. So for me, it's like there's a breach somewhere that needs to be mended. It's one of those, like, if broken people are breaking you, you have to go inside You have to go inside and figure out like where the trigger is, because a broken person breaking you is a trigger that they have, but they're giving it to you, and guaranteed you have it as well. So that's the first thing that I think of, is just like, there's a whole boundary system issue. There's a whole like normalizing issue. Maybe this person's behavior was normal in your household. Maybe something similar to it was normal, but like, it's definitely you kind of have to go in and like, maybe look at some hard truths, or like seek some truth, seek some guidance from inside. Because that's like, it goes back to the whole self-governing situation. Like, if you're straight within here, if you're straight here, like, other people can't necessarily. And like, you have a different outlook on people who do have that type of behavior. Like, you have a different way of moving with them. You don't engage as much. It's more so like, you know what, I need to have compassion for where everybody is in their journey, and understand that like, that's you and this is me. So that's the first thing that I see when it comes to like that whole statement of letting broken people break you. And I think about it, and I'm just like, that's how I think about my upbringing. Like, there was my mother, and she did whatever she could to try and break me. But after going through that and like reconciling, it's just like, I have to look at myself as a self-governing entity, and just have to like vet, like, if that's your opinion, that might be your opinion, but my opinion's over here, and like, there's nothing wrong with us having two separate opinions. And that's just kind of how I look at it, as opposed to like catching a whole ass feeling.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. And that's definitely one of the places I feel like we first interact with broken people, because that's where we're born. That's the environment like you're raised in. And as we spoke about before, like, you can be comfortable in situations that are right. Comfortable doesn't necessarily mean good or great. So definitely. And, for me as well, it's just like everything. Like, I view every single person on this earth is broken. Like, there's no person that I've ever met on this earth that is whole. And if you say you are, you're lying, because I feel like even saying that statement in itself is showing brokenness. Like, because I don't feel like there's no way any person on this earth right now is 100% whole. Everyone is broken, even if it's 0.00001. Like, so it's just like, I was watching one of my ratchet shows. The show with the therapy. Oh man. It's like love and marriage boot camp, hip hop edition. And a lot of broken people on set, off set. But they did this exercise where like they had like a billboard version of a picture of yourself up, and they let the group put stickers of like, say the word was like thirsty. The whole group, everyone would have a copy of the word. You have to go paste it on whose picture you thought was person. And it was like all these words like thirsty, impatient, things that weren't really with great connotation. But then when they looked at the board after, like, it was covered with all these like words and phrases like fake, all this stuff, and it's just like on your picture. Like, imagine that. And then like after, of course the show, they let it brew for a little bit, so of course people were offended. And you've seen some people in the house like literally start picking fights with others because they were so offended as to like, oh, so y'all have been so fake the whole time we're in here, because this is how y'all really think about me, like the whole nine. And the therapists were just talking behind the scenes, and they were showing like, after, even when they were talking with the rest of the cast, and they're like, yo, all these things, like, nobody said that. Like, you never believed that about you. These are things that other people have to say about you. So why are you reacting to it like that? Like, why does it bother you so much? Especially if you're a person that like, you're not out there giving, I guess, what you want people to say about you. Like, if you want people to say you're kind, and every time someone asks you for something, your answer is always no, then like, how do you expect that trait from an individual to be like associated with you? But nevertheless, like, it was just an interesting activity I seen, where it was just like, okay, that whole judgment and how it can play into our brokenness and being so concerned about how others see us versus how we know we really are inside. And if there's something that I'm learning, moving forward and just evolving, is just like, I know who I am inside, or I'm getting to know really who I am inside. I know what makes me happy. I know what makes me sad. I had to continuously remind myself when things would happen, like a situation where maybe someone would say something that would trigger me, is like, yo, they don't really know me. Or even at work, you could be stuck on a shift with someone you like, oh, fucking hate this person. Like, I'm going crazy, but I had to train myself to be like, yo, 6 hours in the shift, this person has nothing to do with my life. Like, after I leave here, it's done. And those little like thoughts and continuously thinking it really helped me to realize they don't mean anything to me, or what people have to say about you. It shouldn't, like, down to your mom and your dad. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but like what's in here really matters, because you know you the best aside from God, which he knows you even better. But
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times, like, yeah, I agree with you on that. I'll take that in agreement. It's just a lot of times people don't realize, like, you're only like, don't take it personal. Long story short, like, no matter who you encounter, it's like, just never take anything personal, especially if you're around somebody who is like that. Maybe, like you said, you're at work and there's people that you don't like. Like, I remember working at a restaurant and like there was a server that like refused to speak to me always. Like, she would not talk to me. And she was doing it on purpose. And for me, I had to look at it and like break it down and be like, so what makes you feel like that's a way to interact with somebody? Like, that's the foot that you put forward. Like, why would you do that? And as much as she was directing it towards me, I had to be like, well, I can't take it personal, because like, I don't know what has you in this space. Low key, I'm going to be really honest, it was also one of those, like, you don't stop me from being like who I am. You know what I mean? Like, whatever it is I'm bringing to the table, I'm bringing that to the table, whether you're here or you're not here, whether you have a problem or you don't have a problem, whether you're journal or you're not journal. So like, I actually really don't have it in me to take it personal, whatever the F it is you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the kind of person that if you try that shit, like, my first response is not going to be to react. My first response is going to be to like counteract. You know what I mean? And my counteract is to be what I said I am. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna try my best to be even more true to what it is I say I bring to the table at that point, because I just think that's the best strategy. And like, once again, it's that self-governing, like, I'm responsible for here, and that's what I have to do. So like, it's a matter of like you said, know yourself and who you present yourself as, and just like being true to yourself and not taking anything personal. Like, who knows? Like, who knows why she wasn't fucking like talking to me? Maybe she got her ass kicked by a yellow bitch like maybe a week before. Who knows? Like, you don't know why she's acting up. But at the end of the day, like, it's her act. And that's kind of the main thing that I take when I hear like, don't stop letting broken people break you. It's just like, for real. Because like, take in that like their circumstances aren't your circumstances. So you really shouldn't be like taking on their energy.
You shouldn't. I was like, definitely that, like, if there was a picture beside take it personal, literally my picture would be there. Like, I was that, like, anything would like set me off. Like, my sensor was so high, and like, I had to get to a point, especially when I talk about like places I stopped going, these places or people were like heavily a part of my life, but realizing like they really weren't for me. And it was messed up to be at a place like this that like you thought everyone was for everyone, and it wasn't the case, right? But I had to learn, like, when I reflect on it, I'm like, yo, that is what would eat at me the most. That is what would push people away from even wanting to maybe hold a conversation with me, because it would be like, yo, I know Kay's gonna start going off about this and she's not gonna finish about it. Or, it makes it doesn't it doesn't give a great frequency out. So the minute I really started to explore the thought as soon as it busts or I felt that like urge, I had to like really sit with myself, analyze it instead of doing this right away. And then as well, another thing that was healthy for me is being mindful of my breathing, right? Because as someone that deals with anxiety and has dealt with like plenty of panic attacks in the past, like I was missing all of those steps. I was taking it personal. Someone would believe they be long gone and I'm still affected. Now my breathing is short, but I'm not saying anything. I'm just sitting there, but my thoughts are going so fast. I'm not realizing what I'm doing to myself. Keyword, what I'm doing to myself, because those people never did anything to me but spew out whatever they spew out. It should just like nothing. And the more I even for those that, when I really stopped taking things personal and just live my life more and more, I see how people react to that. Some with jealousy, some with like happiness for me, and some just being like, it's kind of like you switch the deck on them. It's like now they don't know how to really respond or get you there because you're no longer that person anymore or far from where you used to be. So I would say, guys, like it's really worth doing the homework on that because it messes with your health. And like you're getting anxiety for no reason. You're worked up, you're wound up. People don't really want to be around you. So many things. You gain stress gut, all these type of things where it's just like, yo, if you were to just let people say what they gotta say and be like, okay, you can like, and I've learned to do that more healthy where it's just like I can process what someone has said to me and be able to not take it personal, but process it. Like I feel like those are two different, like, things. So
yeah, I completely agree with that. You made like a point, and basically it was like to the effect of the energy of it.
when it's coming out, yeah.
For me, breathing for sure, breathing 100%. Anything in your life can be controlled by you getting control of your breath. One thing that I have, like, I move on my own pace all the time, and I've always been shat on it for it, but it is giving me a certain amount of calm where I have like a 2-second delay. So it actually gives me a little bit of time to kind of like think about what I'm experiencing in that real time and have that like that little like 2-second delay to say, what am I really experiencing? What's happening? And like sometimes you do just want to go rah, but that like 2-second delay usually for me helps me say, okay, no, wait. And as soon as I like sit up and situate myself, even if it's just mentally, psychologically, whatever, then I can like survey the room. I can survey the whole situation and be like, so where do I stand in this? This person just did this, or this person just said this, or I just experienced this with this person. What does that really have to do with me? And then I get that opportunity to just be like, you know what? I'm going to give you compassion and kindness, because at the end of the day, at that point, I mean, it's only a 2-second delay. I'm going to go with God. All right, God, what would you say? What would Jesus do? All right, cool. Like, come with something nice. And you know what? I found that like taking that little second and trying to reset and finding that meekness usually ends up in a better like situation. And I feel like it's because I took a negative and made it positive kind of thing, like kind of transmute, as opposed to, like you said, being on the same frequency. So you kind of like throw the energy off and the energy flows a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely. And like, even when it comes to healing of the mind, because pretty much all the things that we talk about are things to help get our mindset and things, in a proper place. But when we think of healing of the mind, if you're constantly telling yourself, yo, I'll fuck with that person, or yo, anything related, like your mind just works for anything you associate with something or whatever. That's what it's always going to remember. That's what it's going to react to. You ever notice like you can be in a crowded place, but there's certain things like you train your brain what to pick up, even if like you don't believe that. You're somewhere and you hear a loud noise that comes across as threatening or sounds like gunshots or something. What do you do? Like, because that's something that your brain has picked out as this is something out of the norm, like react, or like however your response is. Or like if I'm constantly getting up every day, something I also had to stop was like with my fitness journey, I'm always there like telling myself like, girl, you're fat, girl, you're this, girl, you need to lose this, whatever. And I really have to be learning to stop that, because I'm training my brain now to constantly see that when I look in the mirror, I'm not appreciating the things that are more beautiful about myself, but right away I'm going to the pouch on my belly, and even the way I talk to it. I know this may sound crazy, guys, but even like the way I talk to it is negative. So of course it's not gonna give me a positive response. If anything, it's gonna make me do this. So I had to start, which I'm actively trying to do now, changing to be like, yo, you got nice arms, girl, but it could be a little bit tighter. So I'm not putting up, I'm not bringing myself down, but I'm giving myself a realistic like affirmation to be like, okay, you're okay. You still love yourself, but you can go to where like you want to be, and that's something that's helping me love myself more and embrace my insecurities and healing of the mind.
There's like a verse in the Bible and it says like, put on like meekness, kindness, bowels of mercy, blah, blah, blah. Like it has a whole long line of like very soft virtues. And it's like you put on these virtues because for these virtues, there is no law. Like you're not subject to law when you use these things, because like they're that level of positivity that you don't need correction for them. And it's just so funny that when you lead with them, that like shit can change. You know what I mean? It's like I think it's interesting how much we downplay the power of positivity, but we kind of like upplay the power of negativity. You know what I mean? Like I think we tend to put a little bit more faith in like what negativity can do. And it's just so interesting to see like when you sit down in your mind and actually just actively use your mind to handle these situations and inject that kindness. Like basically what you're saying is you had to inject yourself with kindness because you were trying to train yourself with dislike or hate. Like you were trying to train yourself with the negativity and you got negativity. Yep. But as soon as you try to train yourself with the positivity, you get the gratitude and you get more. Like you get the more positive.
Yeah, it's like you see it. It's like you start seeing it everywhere. It's like you can't stop. And I'm like, I'm so done. Okay, I shouldn't say that given what we're saying, but it's like I feel so ridiculous for doing that to myself for so long, where it's just like, duh, of course, then all you're gonna see is the negative, and your brain is gonna continuously feed you messages that associate with this negativity. You plant it in your brain. So like, girl, feed yourself that positivity, you gentlemen out there watching, yeah, and it's funny you said that, Killa, because I literally just watched this movie last night called 47 Ronin, and Keanu Reeves is like have you seen that? It's my first time seeing it. And like the part with the sword.
A samurai movie? Oh, of course. A mystic samurai movie? Of course.
So you'll know exactly the part I'm talking about, where they're in the cave and Keanu Reeves is helping Aku or whatever to get the swords. And then like the guy, now when they got the swords, the guy's asking like, why do we have to come here all the way for these swords? Like, what do they do? And then Keanu Reeves, like, there was a big nutty tree and he just chopped it. And then the guy tried it and his sword didn't do it. And Keanu Reeves was like, yo, like the sword does what you like basically will it to do.
Exactly.
It was deep. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. Shout out to Keanu Reeves. I feel like, yeah,
that was your vibe. That movie was psych. And I like movies that I can just kind of like shut off my brain and just like see all the pretty colors and like all the set and the big extravagant like effects. So I like that movie as well for that.
It was really good. So you know what I mean? We really do will our minds to what it needs to do. So with me continuously letting myself know, yo, you're a millionaire. I am a millionaire. I am going to be a multimillionaire. My brain naturally, wherever I go, I even look at my YouTube algorithm, like the whole thing is different. Like the stuff that used to pop up don't really pop up anymore. And that's just a digital example. But when you go out into the world, your brain, because you've already planted that into your subconscious, is going to pick up the things that attract you to, because it low-key creates that checklist in like your mind without you knowing, but knowing. So it's going to help lead you to that, So I definitely I'm not going to be caring about what people have to say or think about me. I'm going to stop letting broken people break me and put their insecurities and, ill wishes on me. That's on you. And, it doesn't mean that if I see an opportunity where like I can be better about it, I won't take the chance. This weekend there was someone that I hadn't seen for a very long time, and a lot of ill feelings, the last time were left between us, to the point where like it was physical. And, I seen this person after that being the last time that I saw them, and I asked their permission if I could give them a hug. And I gave them a hug. And then about 2 to 3 seconds into the hug, I felt their embrace actually squeeze me tighter. So thank you, God. So with that level of just peace that I'm treading with in my life, I shared that very personal story with you guys to just show you guys like you really should practice gratitude. And it really helps you to have a better life, because I walked into that situation being like, she can damn well tell me no. She could damn well whatever, and I will take it. But I know that on my end, I really meant that I really wanted to give her a hug. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? And with that, somewhere in the middle of the transaction, the energy transferred and she embraced me tighter, even tighter, like a real squeeze. So, I thank God just, for his love and his strength and the maturity he's really providing me in my life. Running joke I kind of say with my brother is, I can't have nobody fighting on the PJ. I can't have nobody fighting on the PJ. So, I'm really moving forward with that. Probably not the best example, but one I can think of now. I really love seeing Diddy with like his blended families and everything, and all people always be like, oh, how we do that as baby mother, and everyone. But that's the level, because at a certain point, bruh, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
That part.
Yeah.
Totes agree. Good vibes only. And you know what? Just like find that place where like you can find more strength and positivity than you do in the negativity. And that's like the basis of a broken person. And that's really the hard part. It's just like no longer believing in what you think you see, which is negativity, like, and implementing that positivity and waiting for it to flourish in a place where you do see the change. You do get the new energy. You do see somebody else being affected by it positively. And that's, I don't know, maybe you'd only have to see it maybe once or twice, like the shift for you to really understand how powerful it is.
Yeah. So, I've been transparent with you guys, letting you see and know that I've done both. You know what I mean? I've been the broken and I've been the person doing the breaking. So you're never at a point where you can't come out of it. Like, you more than can. It's just, you got to get your mind in a place where, that's something that you really want and you really seek, Yeah.
And also, like, when you're finding that kindness with yourself, understand that like nothing's linear, like nothing's gonna stay like this, like, your journey's all over.
All over
before you realize how to do this. So it's like, don't beat yourself up. It still comes down to like hold on to that positivity. It's so crazy. Like, my parents jacked my Best of Sade CD. Like when I
not
moved
the
out,
classic.
and then I realized I have Spotify. So I was like, go find the damn CD on Spotify and stop being sour. And I found it. And like the first song is Hang On to Your Love. It's like, for heaven's sake, why do you play these games? Hang on to your love. Because if you want it to get stronger, you better not let go. all that good stuff. And I was just like, this is some real, like, she dropped some gems
Oh yeah.
on everybody's head top. Like, and it was a routine thing, but like just taking that level of positivity, like it's real. And like, I had to understand, like, I have not been listening to anything other than like old school stuff for the last 4 months. I just, if it's not 70s, if it's not like, if the song's not crying, if it doesn't have like a whole emotion to it, I'm not trying to mess with it. So sitting down and listening to like old school Sade and her telling me to hang on to my love, and your love is king, and love is stronger than pride, and I won't pretend that I'm the best at forgiving, but you know, I can't hate you although I've tried, and all that kind of stuff. I'm just like, these are some real virtues that she's singing through. She's not just singing about them, like she's singing through them.
You're right.
And it's just the frequency that it gives you. Like it fills my apartment with like, not Sunday service level of anointing, but like it just gives me that good vibe to go through my day. And it just shows like how powerful that frequency really is. Like tap in, tap in.
Facts. I agree. So, I hope that, this conversation today provided some, clarity or insight to you guys, or maybe someone that you've been interacting with at work, at home, wherever you are, and you're like, yo, why are they? Yeah, that's a broken person. So I hope this conversation helps you to how to maneuver through that. I hope, the techniques we shared help you to kind of be mindful. If you are that person that's doing the breaking, being mindful of your moods, and not projecting that, and just really processing and being mindful of maybe where this is coming from, why it's happening.
Word. And like, take in, like, learn those breathing techniques, like learn how to control your breathing, like maybe even think about that 2-second delay. But also something easy that you can do is, before you even get out of your bed, start being thankful for your day openly. Like, be thankful for waking up. Be thankful that you woke up in as many sheets as you did when you live in cold ass Toronto. Like, be thankful that you're about to walk, put your left foot in front of your right, or your right foot in front of your left. So weird. I was freaking out because I'm just like, there's so much to do, and I don't understand. And like, the word came to me. It was just like, don't you remember how you got through all of this? You openly every morning said, I give thanks that I got another day to put my left foot in front of my right, and then my right foot in front of my left foot. And it just kind of like, it broke down. It might have broke down the undertaking of it. You know what I mean? When you break it down to one step at a time, and like putting your commitment to that one step. So I would say, along with your breathing exercises, along with, taking yourself out for a second and kind of like trying to assess, like, start off your day with that like, I have every reason to be happy to be here. I have every reason to be good to people. I have every reason to be a better person today. I have every reason to just feel like goodness is good today. And I mean, before you even make that move out and like start to push and get your day together. It's just so funny, the things that I'm remembering now. But yeah, just like,
what are you saying?
It's just so interesting, the things that I'm remembering now, because it's just like, I am in a different space in my life, and it's like I have to draw on the good things that I learned from the past while letting go of all the little crappy things, because they don't serve me anymore. Plus, like, I don't live there. They don't represent me. I don't represent them. We have nothing to do with each other. But it's like, in releasing the past, it's like the last 2 years, the focus was like my trauma, my spiritual life, my psychological life. It wasn't about anything else. So there's a lot of things that I kind of let go of, and I knew that I was going to have to pick them up differently. And now they're kind of coming back to me like, okay, so remember, these are lessons. And now for me, I feel happy because I learned those lessons. So I have them to draw from now. And it's just the way they're coming back to me is really interesting. It's just like the smallest of lessons that kind of like got me through for real. And it was left foot over right foot, right foot over left foot.
Yeah. Legit. I've been slipping on that. I haven't done that all week thus far, so shame on me. And I need to refocus. But
I mean, the good things about endings is that they always have a new start.
That part. I find like when the weather lately, a couple of past days, it's been like really rainy, gloomy outside. Unfortunately, I'm letting the weather affect my moods, and like a lot's been happening personally. So I've just been like, but things like, I look forward to things like this every week because it allows me to have conversations and also just reflect, have a moment, it's, yeah, the podcast, whatever, but it's also a good time for me to just really like think about stuff or have a pause break. So it's that cabin fever. It's real. Like when you said it, I never really fully understood the definition of it, but like now that you said it, like I have most definitely been experiencing that. And like, even after we come off today, I am going to take a walk before I start editing. So, yeah.
Yeah. I've been getting promptings and it's just like, yeah, you need to get literally like, you need to get out of your house. And really it's true. And like what the word was that came to me is just like, you have talents, you have gifts, and like, you will help nobody in your house. There is nobody to help in your house with the gifts that you're given. And like, that's like, God doesn't give you things for nothing. Like, he gives you things for you to be helping everybody else with them, like to do his work. Yeah.
1000%. 1000.
Yeah, and I'm just grateful I did leave my house. And I left my house to work, but like I said, just being around Black excellence was awesome. And being around like, I feel like I'm still accessing all the things that I've learned in the past, like, and I realized that at this point, like there are a few more limiting thought patterns that I need to get rid of, and like they were just ingrained in me, and I thought they were normal. So now I'm just like trying to work on them shits. But it's just like seeing other Black people just kind of like do it like it's nothing. You know what I mean? Like do it like it's nothing to be doing it like it's second nature, first nature, third nature. Who the hell cares? Just doing it for the sake of doing it, and like just being around each other and knowing that like I feel a lot of times when you walk in a room, like if people see your greatness, they get intimidated kind of thing, or they kind of get.
I feel that.
Like, that wasn't the case. Like I found a bag of people that like everybody was a fucking superstar, and all anybody did was humble themselves in front of everybody else. Yo, what are you working on? What are you this? What are you that? And like there was a lot of like positive energy put into what everybody was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you do your scrubs, like I want to know about that. Oh, well, you deal with haberdashery. Like I definitely know a little bit, but like I'm gonna like salute you on this. And it's just like, oh well, I'm a law clerk, and I do this, and it's like, but at the same time, like it's just like the brilliance was in the room, and the brilliance was celebrated, but also like it wasn't cheesy. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just a frequency, a standard, a vibe. It was the air. It was the air everybody was breathing, and like everybody was super comfortable to be around each other, as opposed to kind of being like, well, at the end, I have to be number one, or we need to figure out who's going to be number 1, 2, 3. Like that wasn't a thing, and it was just it was a good way to get like my eyes open to get the fuck up out of cabin fever. Like this, there's a whole life to be living. I'm actually glad that like outside is open. Yeah, everybody's afraid. Because,
is it?
I mean, it is to me.
No, I was generally asking. Like, I don't even know what stage you're at. It's just such a like.
That's why I just have to say it is to me, because like I'm not watching. Like I don't deal with the news. I don't really.
Yeah, neither do I. Yeah.
Current affair type things, but I have to look at that and be like, outside is open for me. Like. It's time to not even take life by the balls, but just like enjoy what you have.
Facts. Enjoy what you have. So guys, another week's episode of EFP Fruit Pod. I really hope you enjoyed this conversation today. I truly did. Church. And I hope you all have an amazing week. Let us know what you think about it. And Killa?
Honestly, I didn't meditate, so I'm just gonna go meditate and bring my ass to the silence, because
we're both still waking up.
that's what actually that's pretty much that's a like that's the standard in my name. It's definitely been helping my mind. Lots been going on. I feel like, but you know what? Fuck all that. I know you're swirling. We're all swirling. It's okay.
It's okay.
That's really what it is. Fuck all that other shit. Like, in talking to everybody this week, everyone's just like, yo, I'm feeling it. Like, people are telling me what they've been going through, and I'm just like, don't forget your anointing. Like, I got your hand. Like, we're all going through it. So shelling out the blessings, no matter how you feel, like, shit's gonna turn around. Whatever it looks like, it's really not as big as it seems. I promise you, we're all swirling. Like, just try and find that positivity.
100.